boy Sean, Mr. NJ Brick City. What up, UNFAMOUS PODKAST.
Buenas noches.
This is John.
Oh, okay.
You said buenas noches? That means good nachos?
Good night.
Oh.
Nachos, just nachos.
I think you meant good nachos.
Just Kia, aka Perdine.
Oh, this your boy last week who brought you Teddy Hindergrass. Now welcome, we talking about restaurant Henny Hanna's. This is Henny Hardaway.
Fucking hate you.
I'm under eviction today. Yeah, that's it.
Hello, everybody. I'm the guest for today. I'm Jake, aka Tasty.
I'm not going to be calling you that as another grown man, but I called you that one time. That's all you do.
I'll call you Tasty Jakey.
Thank you.
No problem.
I look like calling another man delicious.
You know you want to.
And he's a white guy. We're moving up, guys.
Yep.
Got two of them.
We got more white guys on the show.
It took us
He
3
came in with
years.
700 credit score.
Cracker in the house.
Hi, Cracker in the house.
Oh,
this
It
is
took
gonna
us
be
3
fun.
years, but we got 2.
Yeah, I know,
We're blowing
right?
up this year.
You're doing something right.
We had
We're
mad lesbians
trying.
in a row. Now we got a couple white guys. in
Yeah,
a
we
row.
actually did. We
We're
had a
actually-
lot of lesbians on the show at one time.
What was it?
Cool.
They were talking about scissoring.
Scissor Timbers.
It was like, yeah. Remember, we had 2 that said they liked scissoring. The others was like, that don't exist.
Yeah.
So it was like,
Named the
About
whole.
your experience.
Yeah. Named the whole episode Psychedelic. So, yeah.
Psychedelic.
Yep.
yeah.
Go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they explain
And scissor afterwards.
Oh man.
That's your experience.
You're that guy.
it.
And scissor afterwards? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
It was a psychedelic trip.
So, how was your guys' week?
Clitoral stimulation is important.
How your week was?
No, I was just responding to
Oh,
you.
I was like, really?
Let's get into this story.
I was like,
Might light a candle here.
Let me go live. for this story.
Y'all foolish as hell.
You said clitoral.
I'm good. I had an actual fucking great weekend,
Whole week.
I went to Charleston, went
Ooh,
back home
blue crabs.
to the homie birthday, and that shit was so live, son. Like, that shit was crazy.
You talking about a dude? He was like a producer or something? I seen it.
Oh, no. He was coming to visit from New York.
Oh.
DJ, it's my homeboy Loyalty. Shout out to Loyalty. Shout out to fucking Derek D-Dot. It was his birthday. Yeah, it was crazy.
Shout
He had
out
the
to Derek.
fucking Henny cake and
Yeah, I seen that.
had 10 bottles of everything. They decided, let's take shots of corn liquor. I'm like, fucking country ass people, yo.
What parking lot were y'all at? That shit was kind of live.
They was under the tree.
No,
No, I'm just playing.
it was Senor Tequila.
Okay.
That shit, like, we just headed to the beach. We was like, yeah, we gonna stop by. It's right here. It's like, yo, come by the Senor Tequila. We was like, all right, cool. Like, my other homeboy was like, yo, we met Senor Tequila. Like, you want to cop some weed off him. So it was like, cool. We get there, we like, oh shit, we staying here, son. I mean, it was ass everywhere.
I
was
seen
like,
the video clip you put out.
yeah, that wasn't even half of it, son. Like, I was too busy on the twerkage going on, son. Like, it's in the middle of the street for no reason, like it's a fucking 3 6 Mafia video.
Oh, shit.
So I was like, oh shit.
Like,
we got the
Googly
wild-
Moogly? That ass was juice.
And I'm out there. Yeah, we ate some food and then got completely drunk. I mean, we made it to the beach. Like, I mean, the whole weekend, like, we didn't even make it to it. It was a good weekend.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
I mean, that's about it. I ain't do shit else. But I got back home probably, yesterday morning. Like, I came straight to work. I didn't even go home. I was like, yeah, let me go to work. It fucking hurt me.
It's a good weekend.
That'll do it.
Yeah, bro.
But shout out to Car Liquor.
Yeah.
More long story. Yeah, my weekend's been pretty chill. Did lots of yoga, lots of naps. Yoga.
I'm just playing.
Oh, okay.
Yoga for me.
Yoga is sexy as fuck, yo.
It's
Sexy
a workout.
women are
Like,
women.
you
Gotta have
make it
core
look way
strength for that or
easier.
something?
All kinds,
Yeah,
all
I
kinds.
know.
Like holding those positions, you'll be surprised how quickly you start to shake. Thank you for that.
Oh, and
So yeah, there was no twerkage, but it was a good little week. I
The
was
West tried to
chilling. I
make me
was
do
at
that
the
for
house.
one week. I couldn't do that. Trying to have a fat man trying to balance himself on one foot. No.
Hey, some people they be killing it, man. I seen some
I
girls
seen this.
that be killing it.
Thick
It
ass
takes time.
shit. Like she's like, I don't know what the degrees are, like karate or some shit. But like she's thick as fuck and she does that shit. So I was like, God damn, she gave me like the wild boner, yo.
Not good. I hear wild boner pose. This is a yoga pose?
Wild boner. No.
A wild boner.
Wild boner.
I be
Yeah, just hold that downward dog right there.
That shit, I'm going. I'll be asleep. They're like, "Jack, you finished with the workout?" Yeah, I'm finished. I don't know about you.
So yeah,
That's the downward dog.
that's that. And I started reading a new book. It's called The Drama of the Gifted Child. So it's been pretty cool. Just learning a lot about how your childhood plays such a huge part on who you are as an adult. It's really cool.
Cool.
And yeah, bought some other books. That's pretty much it.
That's what's up.
Pretty relaxed week for you, I guess.
Yeah, man, lots of naps.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I ain't mad at that. No dates.
No, oh dang, I forgot. Okay, so
That's not been that important. Shit.
It's not
no,
really
so yeah, I went to
It was
Raleigh.
great. I forgot it all.
It
About it.
was great. Forgot all about it, and I was just talking to him today. That's funny. No, of course not. He slept on the couch. I took the bed.
Oh, not at my crib. Shit.
Well, he's a gentleman.
So
So yeah, he lives in Raleigh. We've known each other for a long, long time. But he expressed some interest. So I was like, yeah, we can go out or whatever. Went out to eat. We went bowling.
Did you win?
Had some... No, I can't bowl. He whooped my ass, dog. But I was a G though. I was a G. So he was like, you want a hug? I was like, nah. We enemies right now. Like this competition.
Did he have a little things on the side so you can't throw
Hell
gutter
no.
balls? All right.
I don't play with
Raw
those.
doggy.
Had a little.
Fuck.
You talking about the bumpers?
I take my gutters like a G.
The bumper.
Raw gutters? Bumpers and bumpers?
Both of them like a G. So yeah, it was really cool.
Gutter balls.
He made a statement. Lord, I can't say these people.
So you
No,
drove all the way to Raleigh, or he came?
No, I went to Raleigh.
Oh, you
Yeah, I
went
went
to
to Raleigh. Yeah, it was actually a pretty cool drive. Like it wasn't bad. I mean, it's straight road, nice scenery, so it didn't bother
I've
me.
been up there.
Yeah,
There's so many niggas to not fuck in Charlotte. Why'd you go all the way to Raleigh to not fuck?
Because I don't travel to date to fuck. That's not my objective because I don't have a penis. So
Yeah, I've flown places to maybe get some ass.
I've flown places with no intention of fucking whatsoever,
Shit.
and not on my dime.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he made a comment while we were eating, and he was like, "Yeah, you'll learn how things go. I'll take into consideration what you say, and I'll weigh the options. But ultimately, I make the final decision." And I just laughed hysterically for like 5 minutes. I couldn't stop laughing at him.
No, that's
You're
wild.
fucking mean as fuck, man.
Every time I looked at him, I just laughed.
He said he's gonna make a final decision.
Yeah, he was like, ultimately, I'll make final decisions. And I was like, oh, okay.
Wait,
I
was
might
he
give you some of
joking?
this good
Like-
dick. I'm not sure.
So he goes,
You've earned it.
I like that male empowerment. He took the
Yeah,
power
man.
back.
it was, he must not have guarded it nicely because shortly after that, he was like, well, maybe not. He was like, I've never had a woman like not fuss at me or just like I've never had a woman laugh at me when I say that, and I was like, why? That's so comical. Like that you think you can just make me do what you want me to do. That's cute.
I also think that it's funny that he put his foot down and then 5 seconds later,
Yeah,
nah, I'm
he was-
kidding.
yeah.
Whatever you want to do.
He was like, he goes, well, obviously you're in charge, so whatever you want to do.
Just test the waters.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm just testing it, you know.
I never said I was in charge, but thank you.
I'm like,
Thought you were
charge,
That
charge.
man was not in charge.
So I don't know. It was funny, but that was definitely a point of growth for me because in the past that would have elicited a different response. But now I'm just like, okay, that's how you feel.
Yo, y'all women is cutting niggas down trying to be strong nowadays.
I'm not trying to be strong. I just
No,
don't.
that
There's
was-
no reason for me to let someone affect my joy because of their ignorance in certain subjects. So I just laugh at it.
Well, I thought we was talking about bowling. What happened between bowling and him putting out his foot down?
That's what I was talking about, putting his foot down.
So he said, "Oh, we're gonna play bowling because that's what I want," or
No, we were out to eat when he said that. We were out to eat. And we were just talking about where we were going to sit. And he was like, I think we should sit here. That's how it started.
oh,
Yeah. So.
I said sit in the car.
I think that was an option too.
Put my foot down, goddammit.
You can sit in the
There were a couple
drive-thru.
occasions.
Put down
like,
this accelerator and take your ass home.
there were a couple occasions where he was like, "Well, you gonna do this, or we just not gonna, we not gonna do nothing." I'm like, "All right, let's chill."
I don't see no
I
point
don't give a
in a date where that is like
That's
that's a positive. Like that's
Where
getting
what's
you
a positive?
closer to vagina. Like it's not like yeah, put my foot down. You're gonna do what I say. Like dude, that sounds rapey.
I mean,
You
I'm
might not
sure
wanna say
that works for some women. It's just not my forte. That's all.
Rapey is definitely the vibe. That
Thank you.
I didn't get a
Rapey.
rapey vibe.
I
I
mean,
think he's just trying to figure
I think
out
just
Rapes are sins.
Oh my gosh.
how to assert his dominance. It's cute.
I mean, his rape dominant.
Damn, bro.
Like,
Rape dominance.
I'm just saying. I mean, you know what? I'm not gonna say that. I don't know this man. So.
No, I mean when you grow up in a household where you see the man take a certain role, you feel like that's what you're supposed to do too, and maybe
But
with a woman
you
like your
know-
mother, but not with
Yeah,
me.
but there's.
But you vibe it out.
Yeah, you
Vibe it out.
I'm
And,
just-
you don't just come right out of the starting line and just saying, "Hey, I'm putting my foot down for little crap." That's not you test the waters.
And like, why would you
He
even
says
let her
that, I
know?
guess.
Like you're supposed to just do shit. Like, I'm not gonna tell her, like, hey, you doing what I say. Like, no, like you just make the decision and go with it. Like you're not just like, hey, kid, you're gonna listen to me because I'm a man and I have penis and balls. Like, nigga, you get the fuck out of here.
That's why she was laughing.
Like, hey, you got laughed at. I mean, I hope you got listening to the episode. I hope you are.
And not just
Cause you're a fuck up.
what you're saying, like it wasn't just laughing at like a chuckle. It was straight up laughing in your face for 5
I
minutes
would
while you
maybe-
still eat.
He was like, "You're still laughing," and I was like, "I can't stop." Like, I don't know.
Like, Lord only knows if I ever tried to do that to Nikki, she would slap shit out of me, so I wouldn't try. So,
But you deserve to get slapped like for a lot of things.
So,
So we support her and
We support her.
slapping her.
but yeah, outside of that, like I said, he was a gentleman. There were a couple other times where I just kind of was like,
And that's why you didn't respect it because he was
I
a
was
gentleman.
like, no. I only date gentlemen. I don't deal with the bullshit.
You said
That's a no.
that's what I was about
Yeah.
to say.
Damn, she's dating them all at one time.
Gentlemen's. Yep, sometimes.
Gentlemen.
I only date gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
He was like, see, I'm doing the gentleman thing. Do I get cool points? And I was like,
Yo, why
I
would
mean,
you put? I hate him.
that's
man.
nice,
Don't
but-
give him none. You don't get no
Sir,
cheeks
you don't get
now,
cool
pal.
points for doing what's expected. That's a requirement. That's a
Yeah, you
minimum
don't get no
requirement.
cheeks now, my man. You done fucked it up.
What are you saying?
Yeah, you
Yes,
got-
you're supposed to open the door. What do you mean?
Fucking up, Mr. Raleigh Durham.
Yeah,
I did not get no cheese.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I mean,
That's like he's like opening the door for you. Like, you're not gonna say thank you. Like,
I mean, I
nigga.
do say thank you, but I'm not gonna be like, oh God, I'm gonna tell my friends about the dude who opened the door for me.
That nigga act like it's a
He
video game where everything he do,
But
he
now
tallying up the cool points.
That's exactly,
Opening the door,
bro.
and then he get 5 cool points.
Bro,
Like,
for real. He was like, "Can I get a
half?
half a point?" And I was like, "What? No, the fuck."
Nigga, this ain't Candy Crush.
At the end of the day, you got 5 points. You get a hand job. Hey! Like it's carnival and shit.
Marking the board next to him.
How many tickets you
But he's
got?
also a person that responds to positive reinforcement. Like he, in listening to his stories, I hear that he needs that. But I'm not that person. Like
well, not for
I don't,
stuff like that anyway. There's gonna be a time and a place where those words of affirmation and positive words and things like that would make sense for that.
Yes.
For you just to do things like that, you shouldn't just get oh, thank you for doing that. It's like, bro, you not getting no sex box achievements for that shit.
Yeah.
Like none of that shit. No, you get none of that.
None of that
bro.
slave station.
So sure.
Exactly. Like you're not gonna
Reward.
get that on A-Sex Legends, bro.
not Asex Legends.
Yeah, like that's not
Call
gonna
him booty.
Like we
Yeah.
were.
Infinite warfare.
He was like, "You gonna help me clean the fish tank?" And I was like, "Why would I do that?" And he was like,
Bitch, I
"Oh,
don't live
I don't
there."
know. I mean, my mom comes and help me." Oh well.
Call your
Yeah,
goddamn mama then.
That's
Hell
your
yeah.
mom. Like,
Nothing is better than cleaning a guy's fish
what
tank
the
on the
fuck?
first
Like,
date.
I'm not your
Like,
mom.
oh, the scum and
Bro.
that is so sexy.
He was like, "Oh,
Shit,
well,
yeah.
can you at least
Yeah,
help me
so
make the
sexy.
bed?" No,
the
I'm not.
fish are
What
gonna
the
be so
fuck?
clean after this.
I didn't dirty the bed. What are you saying? I didn't dirty your bed. No, I'm not gonna
Like,
do
see
it.
those gills over there? Oh my god, it's turning me on.
Bro, he was like, "Well, I'm making the bed for you." I was like, "Sir, I can go home. You ain't doing this for me." Like,
this scum?
Scum on the windows.
Oh yeah.
Scum on the windows.
About to put some bubbles up in there.
oh my god.
Bro, that
Whoa.
sounds so creepy.
Damn, G.
Is that fish porn?
Be like, wait.
Treasure chest outside of nowhere with the harpoon, but it's really a dildo, I guess.
Oh,
Talking about my man Moby Dick.
Oh shit, Captain A.
Oh shit.
not the sperm whale. Not the sperm whale.
Sounds like sick
Jaws.
It's Jaws.
About to get into Davy Jones' locker.
Oh, ew.
Now that deep goosey.
That is dumb.
Oh man.
Ass pirates of the Caribbean.
Some of that cracking cheeks.
That cum Bob Square.
God.
You wild
So
guy.
that was my week. How was your week?
It wasn't like your week. God damn. I don't even know how to top that.
I mean, it was fun. I laughed a lot.
I didn't know.
That's a first. You don't know how to top that? Damn. Usually you got something.
Nah, I ain't do shit. This was just a chill week for me. I ain't do shit. Just chill and paid bills. That's about it. Chill to pay
Adulting.
bills.
Adulting.
Yeah.
Feeling it.
That was it for me.
That was quick.
That's what she said.
Oh yeah.
And
Not
then
really.
she never called again.
Maybe.
She looked at him like, nigga.
Maybe.
Anyway, my week was great. Hung out with Nikki a lot this week. Right, Nikki?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, just I did a lot of PCs today. Fix PCs, fix my car. Just regular, general.
Is that like your
maintenance and
business?
shit. Yeah.
And you have a platform to promote your business?
But it's not really a business yet. I'm waiting until I'm getting to that point where I'm getting steady flow of people. It's not all the time though. So.
But that's still
Yeah,
whatever dollars that you didn't have before.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I get where Oz is coming from, though. I don't think he wants to put it out there quite yet I don't know, you might not have all the equipment, or you might
It's more so like,
you might not even have the space for that shit.
I wouldn't have to have a website, all this kind of shit. I don't know.
No, you don't. All you need is a Facebook page.
Thank you.
Like and share.
And
But not
Instagram.
but see, it's like only people that I can directly influence is what I'm going to build the PC for. Pretty much. Because most of the people I build PC for, I directly influence them. Like Jake, I talked to him about it. And
He modded mine up for what I wanted to use it for.
Yeah. So it's really...
Watching porn in 4K, right?
On the VR.
Oh.
Yeah.
Virtual
my
reality
wife comes
porn.
home and I'm going in the air.
VRPOV.
I'm just sitting in the over room, just shaking my head like I'm having a seizure.
If it's VRPOV, do you have to have a flashlight with it too, or?
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
that's a little bit extreme. I don't know.
That's way too much.
So when the money shot happens, does it just come down white like the golden ball shit?
like the Matrix numbers and shit.
But yeah, it's like...
Just you gotta pour water in your lap like, oh, she squirted on me. You gotta put your VR in a bowl of rice.
Gotta sit that apple pie on your lap when you watch that
Old school.
Sean looks so disgusted.
I don't look disgusted. It's just like
It'd be like Dolby 5.1 surround sound. It's like, oh my
I don't know if
gosh.
you just want to get my shit over with, and then y'all can just go back to say what y'all said, because I have literally nothing to say about my week. So,
It's on you,
yeah.
Let's see, what did I do my last week? It was my birthday last weekend. Thank you. Me and the wife, we hate kids. Hate kids.
All right.
And we went to...
I said, fuck me up. I didn't expect to hear that.
Hate kids.
I have tons
Fuck
of
your
names for them.
kids.
I don't mean to say kids. Sometimes I call them crotch goblins or...
Yeah, elaborate. I need
or ankle biters, or whatever I want to call them.
They treat them like they Shih Tzus or something.
Yeah, so we went to Dave & Buster's, and yeah, that was a complete nightmare because there was kids everywhere.
Yeah.
The only fun thing was my wife went into one of those what is a game called? Resident Evil kind of games.
Yeah,
and it's one of those ones where it's like 3D and it spits air at you. Oh. And every time it spit air at her, she freaked out and like fell out of the machine. Oh, that was hilarious.
That's unfortunate.
That is quite hilarious.
And then so I had something embarrassing that happened this week. Like I said, I hate kids, so I got fixed a little while ago.
Oh shit.
So yeah, sorry.
Oh, you serious?
Yeah. So
you just blowing loads everywhere.
Right.
No remorse.
Don't get the eye, dog. It's not cool.
So
take these loads.
So VR. I still have to get tested, like to make sure that I'm sterile, and I take it into the doctor's office, and apparently I didn't make sure that the lid was tight.
Oh man!
I don't know where this is going.
I don't know either. It sounds weird.
Sounds like that movie Road Trip,
right?
Yeah, somebody caught the splash.
Or
man.
Or on Family Guy, he's like, it's everywhere.
Or like that episode of South Park where they banned the internet and he finally got to watch porn and they walked in the room.
Oh, that's
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a water sprinkler, like.
Oh, ski, motherfuckers. Oh, go ahead, my bad.
Yeah, finish that story.
No. So, they told me it was spilled and they couldn't get a reading. So.
Whoa.
Ew.
Well, it looks like you had to go back out.
Well, I hope whoever was there was following proper protocol.
Yeah, I feel bad for the doctor's office.
That's rough.
That's very rough.
I would have made so many jokes.
I mean,
I was no.
I'm not gonna lie, that just made me feel bad.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with a good gist story.
Yo, they dropped your.
Well, I mean, like in the long run, at least you can feel better about whatever job you have because you're not that person.
Yeah, you're not the person that, hey, can you hand me that? Okay, splash. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It could be worse than bodily fluids that flash on you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That'd be the one time you didn't wear gloves.
Oh, jeez.
On my shoes.
Oh, my hand is cut.
Oh, man.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Bro, for real.
It'd be like, everybody walking, just slipping in there like, what?
Yeah, like the cartoon slip is like foot go back. It's like.
Like, what the hell is going on?
Hey, remember that shit with the invisible sidewalk? Motherfuckers kept falling.
Bro.
I don't even know how that.
You gotta, imagine getting that call to clean that up.
Yeah. I'm quitting.
Clean up on hour 4.
They gotta pay you some pretty good money to do that because that's
toxic. Yeah, that's toxic.
No, I mean it's typical environmental services stuff. They don't get paid a whole lot. Not enough to clean up what they clean up, in my opinion.
pretty sure
Like,
they pay more
Bob,
than
I wouldn't be so sure.
Bob, we got some jizz on the floor. You need make a big mop, a big one.
Always one.
It was tasty.
It was tasty, JT.
Bring a Swiffer.
Wet jet.
Wet jet.
A stiffer wet jet?
The cold one from Joe.
That was episode 93 or some shit.
You know, like
Swiffer stiffer.
Stiffer, yep. I remember that one.
So we're on like 98 right now.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, we're on 98. 2 more until 100.
Oh
yeah. Yeah. So like I said, I guess that's everybody's week, man. I do want to add this though, like with my week. I'm definitely doing a lot of learning this week. A lot of figuring some shit out and learning. You know what I'm saying? A lot of self-growth. So that's literally on my, not even gonna say my schedule. That's just my thing. You know, I'm always trying to grow as a person, but I've learned new information about how I should be able to deal with my peers and things like that. And I want to start putting that into practice. So I know a lot of people at job notice me being a certain type of way. Don't be fucking alarmed if I'm acting a different type of way. Like, I just don't want people to be alarmed. Like, well, why the fuck is he talking to us like this now? Because everybody's so used to me just saying wild shit and just saying whatever the fuck I want. That might not be a good way to communicate with some of y'all, especially in certain situations. So I'm about to, just change some things up and have a little bit more professionalism, I guess, when it comes to me dealing with y'all. So I guess y'all get boring showing for a while at the job. So.
I'm gonna actually start unlearning some stuff that I'm trying to stop doing. You know what I'm saying?
Like what, Ajay? Share.
Like, I try to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you ready to I should fuck this person up. Like, let me see it from their point of view. Like no, I should still fuck them up. But I'm.
God damn it.
You not getting to that conclusion of fucking them up, or
I'm.
Oh, okay.
It's more ways.
Right, other than fucking them up.
I think I should send you that video I watched.
Should fucking them up in different direction. I don't even know.
Well, just trying to
different point of views.
He's trying to, I guess, communicate or deal with certain situations, problems, things like that.
In different ways. Because I got some things coming towards me, like work wise and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm just like you said, you're just trying to grow. Like I'm just trying to grow more also.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to go into. I'm 40 now. I can't be rolling around fighting niggas and threatening people. Like I don't fight them, but I just like threaten them. That's how I release by. Like tell them motherfucker, I'll slap the shit out you. That shit feel good. You're like, that felt good. I feel like.
You probably should try yoga. I want to try yoga. Yoga seems fun.
Yeah, I look dope. But nah.
Nah, I mean, it's dope, man. Look, if it helped fucking Jake the Snake Robert, it'll help you.
Nah, I don't got nothing against yoga. It was something else I wanted to try.
I did the same thing because my anger, being a Philly boy and all, especially down here, a lot of things have been testing me lately. So I joined a kickboxing gym.
I saw that.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to do.
What was the name of the kickboxing gym?
What you doing in 9 rounds?
What's the name of the? You
9
doing 9
rounds?
rounds?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I
love kickboxing.
I'm all the way out in like Kings Mountain area, so it's way out. Yeah, I started doing that, and that's great because I just kick the crap out of things, and it's fun.
Yeah.
And it burns.
I wanna,
if you're worried about this, it burns a lot. Like an actual
dojo.
Bro, I've been talking about doing jiu-jitsu for a long time.
Me too. I was thinking about that too. I was looking for one this last weekend.
They got one down there in Rock Hill that's not too far from me that I'm gonna go ahead and I think I might need to get into that because I mean I can definitely say that my biggest issue I've had even with my anger, I don't lash out and like get physical or anything like that, but I don't know how to say things in a way where I'm properly getting it out in a healthy manner. And sometimes when I do get it out, say I was calm about it, I still feel angry. I have to be able to release that in some type of way because what happens is I sit on it and now it becomes to fester in me. So then something else happens. I might say something about it, but I'm still a little angry. And now all of it festers and it's just there. And then when I finally explode, now it's a problem, you know what I'm saying? Because I just, that's just how I am. So I'm trying to figure out a different way of releasing all that pent-up aggression. And I feel like maybe I should go do jiu-jitsu. Like, jiu-jitsu is one of those things where you are personal with that person. Like, you are going to be on that person's going to be on you, and y'all going to be figuring out how to fucking choke somebody, and I got you in the arm bar.
You gotta think.
Yes, and that I feel like that's just a very healthy way of me getting everything out. Like, Ajay, you know how I am even with MMA. I know what's, like, I know what's going on. Even Josh has seen me do this. Like, I'll talk about certain things with MMA, and he's like, damn, son, I didn't know you knew all that. I want to get into jiu-jitsu. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's just something that would definitely help. It would ease a lot of anger. I would suggest that to you also, Ajay, because I know people that's done it, and they say they love it.
But I know, like, I'll get fucked up for, like, the first 6 months.
Not necessarily.
Because I got my arms and legs are out there, son.
But, I mean, you learn. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't got no problem with it. So I honestly got just been looking for a place, like, recently to do somewhere to do martial arts and jiu-jitsu and shit.
I would do it.
Start rolling around with my shirt off with other guys.
Oh, man.
It's been years since I did Krav Maga. That thing,
That's
man.
wild.
That shit's tough.
Oh yeah.
Krav Maga tough.
Krav Maga is the Ukrainian way of martial arts, which is no holds bar.
Like, the
Ukraine
in general is
just.
I would say Egypt has it or something like that.
Israelis.
That's what I think it is actually. Yeah.
That shit is. Matter of fact, wasn't that what he was doing in no, Bourne, Jason Bourne.
I think so.
Yeah, a lot of it was.
Yeah, that's when they like
fuck you up. Was Steven Seagal doing that shit too?
I don't know.
He's just playing
patty cake.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
He just does fucking patty cake on motherfuckers. Didn't know those connections.
Take your hand. Let me get that gun up out of your hand.
60-minute roundhouse kick.
He's fucking people up though.
I mean, he's no Ip Man, but you know.
Nah, he definitely no Ip Man.
For sure.
Definitely.
I don't know. Your boy Steven Seagal said he taught your boy Anderson Silva how to do that front kick. He's like, yeah, that was me.
Like he said,
I feel like back in the day he was good, but
crane kick shit.
By the time I started watching him, it was like when they would cut from his face and all you would see was the hands of the stunt devil. Like, so I used to be like, bruh, let it go.
You know what? You gotta go back and watch. It was a movie. He's on a ship. And I know he was the cook. I forgot the name.
Talking about Under Siege?
Yes, Under Siege. And
my mom has, she's
him
like,
and,
in love with
when he started
Tommy
making
Lee Jones was fighting each other with knives. And that shit was hilarious.
Yeah.
When he started doing rooms with Ja Rule, I'm like, dude, cut it out. When he jumped over a Lamborghini.
You can see the strings.
No,
like he was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
It's like, come on.
Bro, when he had that reality show.
Yeah,
when
he was the one who's cop.
Yeah,
he's like a cop.
He's really a sheriff.
He's really a sheriff.
Like a real life sheriff.
Like Alaska.
No. It's in
Louisiana.
Yeah.
Bro, I would crack so many jokes.
Right. So that's what all of his shows was pretty much everybody getting arrested, and they're like, "Yeah, you're Steven Seagal, right?" He's like, "You're an idiot." Like, you suck. Like,
yeah.
This is
I got arrested just
this is worse. They're like, this is worse than getting regular arrested. He was like,
imagine getting arrested by Shaq. You know, fuck out of here.
Yeah,
I forgot he was sure.
Fuck out of here, man.
I just, bro, kneecaps. I know they.
He was
one
like,
thing is sneakers in fucking Walmart. Stop it, Shaq. You can't arrest me.
Steve Seagal like,
I refuse this arrest.
There go the perps over there. I'm just gonna sit back and let the real cops handle this. I was like, yo, I thought you was on the show. I thought it was about you.
Bro, he got to still a money maker. So he's like,
he just make money.
He's like, look, I might.
He got a couple Netflix movies that was super garbage.
I'm about to say that.
I tried to watch them like.
You said Netflix.
I thought you was about to say like they were
movies,
good. He said they were super garbage.
As soon as he said Netflix, I was like, nah. Steven Seagal Netflix, he was way past his prime by the time Netflix came out. Hell nah.
I mean, damn,
he was past his prime when Blockbuster was still in, bro.
Damn.
Oh, walk past that aisle like, you don't get that shit out of here.
Right.
They couldn't give that shit away. It was 50 cent rentals. Fuck out of here.
Damn, bro. That man ain't did nothing to us.
No, but he is funny.
I feel bad for him now. I feel like I should just call him up. Like, I'm sorry, Mr. Seagal. We made so much fun about you.
Come on by. Let's talk about it.
I'm gonna come down there and kick all your asses.
You gotta catch me first.
Exactly.
I'm like, nigga, you got arthritis. Still got that old ass ponytail.
Bro, it is holding on, bro.
His hair is dying too. Like, that man put hair plates.
Yeah, no, he puts fucking shoe paint in his fucking hair.
You got that kiwi in there?
You got that just for me.
That's that, what's the name? What's that shit called? It starts with a B, I think. What's that black dye?
You
talking about
Beijing?
Beijing.
The shit that R. Kelly put in his beard.
Yeah, pretty much. Dog, don't say nothing else about R. Kelly.
Wait, Joe here?
Joe ain't here,
Oh,
so.
shit. No, he's about to be in here in a second. Oh, man. Yeah, don't say nothing else about no R. Kelly.
It's the parents. That's the thing, the parents.
Yeah. So, honestly, I mean, I didn't really have any topics other than, I saw what's
fucking Aisha Curry. Yeah. That bullshit.
Do you know anything about what was going on with that, Jake?
What's up?
Aisha Curry?
Nah, I don't stay on top of some of those things.
I wanted to get a little bio on my man. Let him introduce himself to the world.
Yeah, you know what I did feel about that.
Oh, right.
We'll get to Aisha Curry.
Yeah.
Jake, please tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Let's see. I grew up in Philadelphia. Born and raised.
That's your time on the playground?
Yeah, mostly.
Hanging out with blacks and acting all cool.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Joe?
We gotta make room for one more.
Joe.
Here goes chair for you.
Cool. What up, bro?
What's going on? What's up? How you doing? What's up?
How you doing, my brother?
Let's see. What else can I say about myself? Then, when I was in Philly, I worked in a psych ward for 10 years. Lost my mind. The only difference between me and the patients was I held the keys. Worked in an armored car.
I almost did that.
That wasn't that bad.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about it.
Yeah.
I watched so many B movies to do that, yo.
I've not seen Dead Presidents that killed it for me in armored cars.
I quickly,
like, lay on the ground.
I quickly climbed up the ranks because of the fact that most of those movies scared the crap out of me. Because I never trusted the people that I was working with.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause, it's always that one guy that was your best
Hey,
friend.
what was that one movie where it happened in
They behind on the mortgage.
The heist.
Hey, what was that movie that happened in North Carolina where they robbed the armored truck and they went to Mexico and shit?
Zach got the necklace.
Mastermind.
Mastermind. That was a great movie.
True story.
Yeah, that was super true.
Oh, did they get away with the money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope.
For a time being.
Yeah, then the IRS came after him.
Oh, damn.
Because there was another one too that was like right after that where they, the money fell off the back of the truck when they were driving away, and the person just came up, grabbed that money, and made off with it.
Yeah.
And they found out who the person was, but they couldn't get that money back because it wasn't stolen. It was left behind.
Right. Damn, it wasn't stolen.
Talk about a stroke of luck.
Right.
Damn, dog.
Like you found my money. I need it back.
You found money that was left behind. And you turned it over.
That's not how it works.
That happened to a friend of mine. She saw it fly out of the window, out of the car that she was driving, and so she was like, "That looked like money." So she pulled over. It's in the middle of the night, totally dangerous, but it was like $450 in a row. She picked it up. I was like, "Damn."
That's
a damn good come up.
You know Lance's job?
I was like, if I would have been late, I could have been there. Damn.
That's my homeboy.
Okay, so what else?
I was when I got married, I thought I'd get into a safer job, so I transferred out to Denver. Found my safer job, and then almost died of a blood clot.
Damn.
So, out of all the crazy jobs I had before,
That's usually
my
how it
body
happens.
is almost the one that takes me out.
Yeah.
Wow. That's terrible.
Well, that's healthy, bro.
Thanks, bud.
Glad you're here.
Yes, that's hence the reason why I'm going to the gym also.
Gotcha.
And then then I transferred out here to Charlotte. Pretty much it. Just moving around across country most of my
What's your
life.
next destination you want to go to?
I don't know, man. I'm still thinking about that myself.
Okay.
You should do like a vlog, Tasty Jakey takes on the world, something like that.
That'd be dope. I'd definitely listen to it, watch it, whatever.
Yeah.
Jay's a very interesting guy.
Yeah, and the wife's as bad as I am too.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I met her before. She's cool.
Oh, she's your person. That's awesome.
Well, she works in that.
No. Thank God, no.
Oh.
No offense, buddy. I can't do that. It's nice when I get to come home and then she's like happy to see me. You know what I mean?
Yo.
I'll stop.
I'm tired.
Let me go ahead and go on home.
The credit start rolling.
But,
Exactly.
Yeah, so I did a crazy move and I married a Russian girl, which was...
Can she out drink you?
No. My Irish thing really helps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You look to be of Irish descent.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what's up.
Like you.
What does it mean? Like I have like
Did you
potato
order
soup?
her? Did she like mail?
No. If she was mail ordered, I'd probably put return postage on her and send her right back over.
Oh,
You go on AmazonPrize.com.
You know that
Amazon Prime?
what is that 20 day free return kind of thing?
Bezos said that shit was gonna kill the internet, dog. He was like, "Yo, fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead. That motherfucker's gonna get half of my money." Mail order brides and shit. Damn.
Prime delivery.
Exactly. And I want a toaster. I'm telling you, Cleo.
I want a toaster.
Yeah, get a toaster too.
Yeah, Ninja Blade.
Y'all need help.
I do.
Jake, how was you? I mean, Jake. I mean,
Oh, is that what we're doing?
Oh no!
I thought we were doing Jacob's life. No,
that's
Yeah, we were, but you just got here, so
it's not a great life. It's not a great life.
Matter.
Yeah,
That was actually a good movie.
It was.
Yes.
All right. Oh, how was your week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. I had a great week.
Yeah.
I had a great week. It was it was busy as usual. Babies. Bonding time, yeah, all the time, Baby's getting better with his sleep. We started him on Dr. Sebi's baby formula.
Cool.
And he likes it. And so it was just breast milk in that formula, so we'll see what happens. There's a big growth in the developmental stage anyway, 3 months to 6 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. But more and more, I just, count my blessings basically, And that's about it, basically. Just a busy week. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
It's the only short comment. Oh, you know that.
Oh, well, we already did it. We were just catching up for you.
yeah.
Yeah, we had already done it. Yeah.
I guess we can go in now.
Yeah. So
What y'all going on first? Josh got something to say. He adjusted the mic.
Before Jake was giving his bio, we had brought up Aisha Curry, and for people who don't know, I guess that's Steph Curry's wife, mother of his 3 children, and she had put she was on the Red Table Talk?
Red Table Talk, yes.
And she had said something to the effect, cause I didn't hear it, I didn't watch it, but she said something to the effect of, it would be nice, if guys were, in her DMs.
That's not what she said.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Tell us. I don't know what she said.
So first, let me apologize for cutting you off, but one of the things that really burned my chops with this whole story was most of the people that I saw didn't listen to the Red Table Talk. They just went off what they saw as clickbait. Yeah. And I was like, that's not what she said. That's not what she said. In the Red Table Talk in its entirety, if you guys have ever watched it, Jada does a really good job of delving into people's lives and just trying to get a deeper understanding of them, that kind of thing. And they were, talking to her, and she was just talking about the entirety of being a wife and a mother of 3, and having basically been in a committed relationship since she was 15. She's 30 something now, to one man. That's it. And so she was saying, after all this time, I see my husband get all of these women throwing themselves at him and giving him compliments and that kind of thing. And she's like, every now and again, I feel that insecurity where I just kind of feel like, well, is there something wrong with me because no one compliments me like that, the way that they compliment him? That's what she said. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't I want people to jump in my DMs. It wasn't any of that. So
she want more cock thrown at her. She just want to fucking reject people. Why would you want people getting at you?
But that's not what she said. It could be something as simple as a compliment. Just because you compliment someone doesn't mean you're getting at them. You could compliment them for the sake of complimenting them.
All right. Let's look at it like this. She's a married woman, right? When you get married, you're not supposed to be out here looking for fucking compliments and shit.
No, you're a human being. You always look for compliments.
In the Christian sense of marriage, with this to be Christians, you're not supposed to be out here
No, you're not supposed to lust. You can still compliment people. That's incorrect.
Lust.
That's not lust. That's not lust.
I can't agree. I don't think that's lust.
That's incorrect.
Let's just say, okay, not to cut anybody off. The big point to me is 15. Whatever they.
Yeah, they're in their 30s now. Mm-hmm.
How many people can boast that much longevity?
Not a lot.
It's not kind of hard to speak on somebody's objective opinion of their relationship, right? So my thing is, women, not to say everybody, no matter who they are, women will always like compliments. My sisters are 30 years marriage average, 4 of them, right? I had this conversation with 2 of them. Do women mind if a man looks at their ass? The answer resoundingly was no. Do men mind if men look at their woman's ass? The answer resoundingly is yes.
Yeah.
Women don't care about attention, whether they're committed or not. They just want to know that they got it. And I never heard a woman say, tell me different. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean lust.
But all right, I put like this. I've known, I'm gonna put on dudes. I know men that go out to clubs. Like, let me see if I still got it. Is that the same?
So okay. That's the difference, and that's what I saw a lot of times when I saw males speak about it. They were like, "Oh well," they speaking from their point of view. When I want to see if I still got it, I'm gonna see if I can go to the club and bag a shorty or whatever the case may or may not be. That's not the case. I can't speak for all women, but for me and the women that I know, and I'm going to extend that to Aisha based on the life that she's lived thus far, that's not what we're looking for. Seeing if we still have it isn't, oh, well, I'm going to see if I can fuck this nigga. It's just, will I get a compliment? That's it. Like, is someone going to do a double take? It doesn't even take a lot. It's, oh, wow, you look good today, or I like that dress, or, like, that's it. We ain't looking for more. That's it.
I don't get it.
Okay, I want to say something really quick.
That's something that you're not supposed to get. I mean, you're a guy, so I don't think you would probably get it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand where they're coming from about it. Cause at the end of the day, some women just want to know, like, they still feel pretty. Some women want to know that somebody.
But you got a man at home every night telling you the same thing.
That's not the point.
You're looking for out
because I'm sorry, not to cut you off, but being married.
Shut up, Carter.
So
he beat you to it. Damn.
I gotta remember, I'm from Philly, so there's nothing you're gonna say that's gonna offend me.
Beat me to it.
So, even being a married man, the number one thing you get asked every single day is, does my ass look fat in these pants or these jeans and stuff like that? And even if you tell them, like, your ass looks amazing and blah, 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 they're like, your point doesn't matter because you see me every day. I wonder what the neighbor says about this. So I'm going to go act like I'm pulling weeds out front and see if the neighbor says anything about it.
Hey, Miss Parker.
Hey, Miss Parker.
And that's what I was trying to say. Like, you know, a woman, she could be married to somebody, and I'm not saying this is how she thinks because I can't speak for women, but she'll be like, well, it's your job to say that I look good. It's like,
yeah, it's like, why would you tell me something
like,
different?
You're not
That's just going to cause
different.
friction in our
Exactly.
household.
So
yeah.
I can see why they will go out like, you know, and they're not looking for like, yo, I want dudes to be out here saying, hey girl, I'll fuck the shit out of you. But a simple,
you look nice.
Oh, you looking good.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, you know, because I've never even been mad at compliments or things like that. Like, I had a whole live conversation one time about, you know, say there's a chick on Facebook or something like that. And, you know, dude like, oh, you know, that's a beautiful young lady. I'm like, hey, how you doing, beautiful? Something like that. And like, oh, that's disrespectful, this and that. And I'm like, I don't see why. I'm not saying anything other than, hey, you're beautiful. That's it.
I think it's become, like, it's gotten to a point now where compliments from the opposite sex, I'm going to say, like, from male to female, but it can be the other way. It's gotten to a point where women almost feel like, well, if a random guy gives me a compliment, then he got to be trying to fuck or trying to do this or trying to do that. And that's not to say that it's the case, and I don't think that it's okay to assume that, but that's what's happening. And I feel like that's where the disconnect is coming from, because it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, I feel like I think it's a multitude of things. Maybe, you know, I don't want to put it all on the Me Too movement or whatever, but I think that a lot of men probably are more restrained to give women compliments because they don't want them to take it the wrong way and think that they're sexually harassing them or something like that. And two, I think just a lot of men know everybody's been knowing she's been married since she's been with this person. So out of respect for their marriage, they probably hold their compliments to themselves. Not meaning they don't find her beautiful or don't want to compliment her. They just know her situation.
Right.
So, I mean, in their mind, they're probably like, yeah, she does look nice today, but out of respect for her marriage, they want to keep it to themselves because they don't want their compliments to be taken out of context.
Yeah.
True.
Shut up, Osmond.
Yo, I mean, first of all, she's married to Steph Curry, so it's like the joke about the ex-wife of Michael Jordan. Like, you gonna come in his house and his children gonna be like, yo, my dad bought this shit. You know, you don't got no sneakers. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly. They're not even on Steph's level to be.
He ain't got no sneakers.
He got no rings.
You know what I'm saying? He got no rings.
That's what I took.
What's your shooting percentage
so
from
like,
3-point line?
guys are not really gonna be like, what you gonna say?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, what's your line gonna be? You gotta be real confident, dude.
Right.
But in a relationship, it's a power balance. Like if somebody is, notably has more money than the other spouse, or noticeably more, even if the looks fade on one and don't fade on the other, there's a power imbalance, and somebody's gonna feel less inclined to be wanted and need more reassurance. Imagine a power vacuum in that relationship.
And I just also wanted to point out just a couple points. One, she's still postpartum. Like their son is still really young. So when a woman is bouncing back from having a child, especially the third child, it is very hard to get your body back to where it was. So not only is she dealing with fine half-naked women throwing themselves at her husband who's on the road and she can't necessarily travel all the time, but she's having body image issues. You know what I'm saying? Because these things happen after you've had a child. So that's one aspect of it. And the other one is I feel like when people... Like I saw someone make a comment like, well, when I'm with my man, all I need is his validation. I don't need anyone else. But you haven't been with someone for 15 years to know what you're gonna need after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he could meet it every time, but 15 years of saying, "Hey, you're beautiful," it could probably wear off. You know? Yeah. So I feel like people just took it in the wrong direction, and to villainize her for saying that she seeks external validation, I think is bullshit because. We all seek it. Like the first thing I saw was they were like, "That's some light skin shit," and I was like, "What? That's some human shit. We all need external validation. What do you mean? Like that's dumb as hell." So it just burned my chops.
Yes, I mean, I feel like I'm not condemning her for what she's saying. I'm just saying, like, if you put something like that on a public platform, I mean, people going to feel their way and have their own opinions. I mean, whether it's right or wrong, I mean, people are going to take things out of context whenever you get something out there. I mean,
and her response was very classy. She just said, basically people are going to feel how they feel, but I'm going to be honest. I've always been honest and authentic about what I'm feeling, and I'm going to continue to do that because I feel like I'm not the only one. So I can help somebody else that's feeling this way as well. And that was it.
Women feel like that way, and whether you want to admit it or not, that's just how a lot of them would feel, basically. Even if you're not married to somebody famous, when you're going through postpartum, you're gonna feel doubt about yourself, and just imagine that difference because her husband is well known, and he is highly sought after by women. So, in regular dudes could just get a lot of attention on regular circumstances, and then women could be going through postpartum, and they will have the same feelings, and a lot of times that they get that validation from outside or they feel good about themselves in general, they're going to come back to you a lot of times if it's healthy, and all that energy is going to be for you.
Yeah, it will now.
It will be. It will be for you. So it's good to keep you want to keep that confidence up. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's healthy, and it's good that she was honest about it. It doesn't mean that she's trying to, get dick pics. I don't think that's what she's saying.
No, I'm sure she did.
I'm about to say, I'm sure she did. I'm sure she did. I'm sure she got him. I know she did.
She got him.
She probably blocked.
She asked for it now. She opened Pandora's box with that. Like, why am I not getting comments? Like, okay, well, comments now. All right, here you go. Like,
you're not okay. Take that.
Some of the memes work white money though. I didn't know.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to look at it for what it is. I mean, he's a millionaire athlete. Of course, she's going to slide in his DM because, I mean, we've seen millionaire athletes who cheat on their wives or whatever. So them chicks is out there trying
and
to.
And that's something that she's seen as well. I'm sure, I'm sure she knows.
But the chances of a man really taking a millionaire athlete's wife from the athlete, or
well, she got her own millions too. But
well, I'm just saying, I'm just saying in general. I'm not talking about her specifically. I'm just saying in general.
No, she has her own company. She makes her own money, like outside of him.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is the chances of a man taking a millionaire athlete's wife from that athlete and just an average guy is slim to none unless you got some super swag or gift for gab, I don't know. But it's easier for women to slide in an athlete's DM and end up sleeping with him or possibly fucking up the relationship where they can, so
you don't think there are regular dudes fucking the shit out of athletes, women? They definitely are.
No, I'm saying,
yeah. No, are you speaking from experience?
Right.
It sounds like.
No, I'm not saying. First of all, that's not what I'm saying at all. I never said it didn't happen. I'm just saying the chance of it happening. Yeah, I said it happens. I just said the chance of it happening are far less than when a millionaire athlete they got all these women throwing themselves at. A woman not just sleeping with any regular dude. And she got millions of dollars. Like you got to bring something to the table. Like. Right. It's not. It don't happen like that for how to do for men.
That's why they have pool guys and trainers for tennis. And stuff like that, you know what I mean?
That's who they're fucking.
Athletes having threesomes on the road every night. Like it's not like that for the.
She's getting well dick down at the same time, yo.
Well, Lord.
I'm just talking about a numbers game. I'm not saying
people want to get fucked.
They definitely have.
Remember that Biggie song when he was fucking chick and dude was playing for Utah Jazz and all that?
Yeah.
That really happens though.
But really that's Biggie though. He was a rapper.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I'm talking about the average person though.
Well, and a lot of times for women is if you're not getting that attention. You know what I'm saying? Like you can have the big house, you can have all the money, you can have all of those things, and that's fine. And she'll still stay there and spend that money and live in that big house and enjoy those credit cards. All of that, and endure the cheating or the not cheating or the whatever. And if and or when they're gone, what's most important for most women, in my opinion, is that affection, that attention, feeling wanted. So if someone comes in and it could be Tyrone who's sleeping on his mama's couch, but he make her feel that way and got the good D, shit. She ain't gonna leave her husband, but he gonna dick her down.
Yeah, I ain't saying it don't happen.
You got Shaq's wife, like Dwight Howard's baby mother. They look regular. They were regular dudes. They wasn't no superstars. So,
but I understand what Josh is saying. Like,
well, I think at that level, it's like you're not. And it's I got put it. Like I always tell people, like they know when they're all right. These ex athletes' wives and shit like that. They know that they're Mrs. This nigga and not who they are. They know that their identity don't. Like, all right, I say Kobe Bryant. If his wife left him when he got caught cheating, they'd let her know, like, yo, you know you're Mrs. Kobe Bryant. You're not you. You're not.
I don't even know that baby name.
Thank you. She'll show up to the same restaurant.
I don't know how she looks.
Vanessa Bryant.
Her name from the top of his wife?
She a Mexican
Bryant.
Oh, okay.
But it's like, if she showed up to the Gucci store and all the same restaurants and shops she showed up after, she wouldn't get in the motherfuckers. She wouldn't get the Gucci black book about the back that nobody else has access to. But she Mrs. Kobe Bryant. Like, you're not the only
bag. They don't give a fuck with your name.
Yes, they do. So yes, they do.
No, I'm saying if
you know how many millionaire people are in like LA? So you're just another millionaire in LA. You're not Mrs. Kobe Bryant no more. Kobe Bryant.
Money, any millionaire money spent the same as just about anybody else's. I mean,
it's about clout. That's why it's about clout. I've been to LA.
It is about clout. Like you can have all the money in the world, but if you're not known, why would why we need you in our store? Because you're not bringing nothing to our store. You might have money.
Bringing money.
But there's a difference between power and then money.
Thank you.
Like you can have low money and still have high power.
Trump.
All right, look at it.
Yeah.
I can have businesses crashing, but yet, I'm still up there. Yeah. But anyway, like I said, there's like the power is the thing that gets you the open doors, and it's not the money, it's the power.
Look at our All-Star Weekend. How many millionaires and athletes we had in town that weekend? For LeBron to close down the whole Maggiano so him and his family could eat. They could have had, all them tables could have been money. Like, they could have been, all right, only NBA people. He's like, no, just me and my family. And they shut everything down. That's power. Because he's LeBron James. The fact that he ate there, that's going to attract more people to come there. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, you're not you. You're Mrs. NBA star, Mr. Rap star, and shit like that.
I mean, same thing happened, I guess, with your man R. Kelly's wife. Because I think that's what she said. Like, when she left, she was like, yo, they didn't know her as...
I didn't even know that man was married.
Yeah, they didn't know her... they just knew her as Mrs. R. Kelly. They didn't know her as whatever her name was.
She showed up on X's of LA, and I was like...
Yes.
Married to R. Kelly who? When?
Exactly. And that's when you actually...
10 years?
And that's when she said that. She was like, yo, they didn't know who I was.
You look more than 30, too.
Oh, man.
But it was the same thing for Prince's wife, Mateo or whatever.
Mateo.
Yeah, I was like,
he had a wife.
Yeah, I knew that.
Why?
I just know Apollonia. I just wanted.
I knew that. I think they been came out about that like years ago.
I didn't really.
I think Oprah was talking to him about
his career and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'm a Prince fan, so I definitely. Whenever he had an interview about something, you should probably watch it. Shit is hilarious.
It does change, and it is difficult to separate your identity. I mean, in general, if you're married to somebody who's high in a local community, it's hard to separate your identity when you're the wife.
So does that work for Stedman too? If he gets Oprah?
Yeah.
Damn.
Stedman.
But look at the difference though. Everybody knows Stedman's name. Ain't nobody like, oh, Oprah boyfriend.
I don't know what he looks like though.
I don't know what Stedman looks like.
What the fuck does he look like?
Oprah keeps Stedman on the low, boy.
Like Dr. Claw and Inspector Gadget. You hear him, but you don't see him.
He like a lawyer.
Yeah, he like a light skinned dude with curly hair. Like, I know what he look like. You just never watched Oprah.
That nigga like, nah, I didn't.
Yeah.
That nigga like Dr. Claw and Inspector Gadget. I know what the fuck that nigga look like.
You gotta
rub the cat and shit.
Bro, you gotta start watching. Bro, you gotta start watching BET The Basement. Shit. Other things to watch, man.
She got 10 statements. You wouldn't
fucking know.
Yeah, she got one in the closet. Like, come out the closet.
Bro, when she was on Trevor Noah, this is random, but I was watching her in between the scenes show on Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, tell us like some regular things that you do. Like, we know that you're like a billionaire, but what are some regular things that you do? And she was like, so when I travel, I really like avocado. I'm really into avocado right now. And he's like, okay. She was like, so when I travel, I find that avocado is just so much because, it's so popular now. So, of course, it's going up on the market. So she was like, so I just bring my own avocado from the orchard that I started.
He was like, hold on, you have an avocado orchard? He's like,
that
was from real left. Like she don't see shit as normal no more.
Yeah, she was like, oh yeah, I planted my own orchard. I mean, why not?
Everybody has one.
Yeah, everybody has one,
Everybody eats avocados. I know you got one.
Everybody has an orchard. You don't have an orchard? Come on, you got one tree.
It's a cannabis tree. Orchard. It's a cannabis tree.
So that was interesting. I did want to, wait, are we done with that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I did want to talk about this.
I want to talk about something too.
Okay. This was in Mississippi, Cleveland High School. I don't know if anybody saw the story. But this young lady, so in Cleveland, they had two high schools that they integrated because it had been ruled that the schools were basically segregated based on race. So they integrated the two high schools. Upon the integration of the two high schools, they had some issues with a black young lady who was supposed to be the salutatorian for her class. So background, when you're the salutatorian or the valedictorian in your state, you usually get a free ride to any school in that state, typically. So their senior year, she started off with a 4.44. If anybody's wondering how you can get over a 4.0, she took AP courses, I believe, or IB courses, one of them, but they both have more quality points. So she had the 4.44, and that was what was that? I want to say after this first semester, she had that. So they went back, and the GPA had changed on her records. And so the parents pulled it up, looked at everything, and they had reduced the quality points for some of these classes. And they basically battled with them that next semester, like, hey, why did this change? It's not fair. It's not okay. And they were like, well, we'll look into it. Long story short, they ended up having to take it all the way to the school board. School board reviewed it. They were like, oh, it was a slip up. Our bad. We'll fix it. Okay, cool. So she's back to a 4.44. They're having their commencement ceremony. And she's expecting to be called up as salutatorian. She's not. A white guy's called up. His GPA was 4.38. So after the graduation, they went back. They met with the school officials, and they said that, oh, we miscalculated again. You actually have a 4.37. So the parents, again, went back. They went through every class, every quality point average, all of that, fought back and forth, yada, 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 XYZ. Long story short, oh, we made a mistake again. You actually have a 4.41. Our bad. So by this time, they've already graduated. People are going to different schools, all this other stuff. So she didn't end up, she wanted to go to Ole Miss. She didn't end up going because she didn't get the scholarship that she would have gotten as salutatorian. When they went back to speak to the school district, I find this hard to believe that they would say, but I mean, maybe they did. According to her lawyer, because they are about to sue, but according to her lawyer, the school district said that their reasoning for not making her salutatorian was they were afraid of quote-unquote white fight. What? They were afraid that the white kids that integrated from the other school, the white parents, would feel some type of way about this little black girl being salutatorian, which is why they did not give her the title, despite the fact that she had the GPA. So now the lawyer is suing for the loss of the scholarship and other subsequent scholarships that she may or may not have gotten. But I just thought, really? Like, really?
We still doing this? Really?
That's what I was like.
I don't think
2019, we still on this.
Really? That's
like,
bold.
I don't think the white families would really care that much. I don't think.
I mean, I would hope not, but I also know that when you're fighting, I mean, you are, but when you're fighting for your child, you know what I'm saying? Like outside of the whole race relations, parents go hard for their children. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know.
Being a northerner, I just got to say, weird shit happens down here in the South.
Weird shit.
I don't even know how that transpires.
Like it's still, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's 2019 up in Philadelphia and New York. And then the shit just...
You go back in time as you go down.
You go
it's
back,
only down.
You go down to Miami. It is, you just ride down the street and it's like 1970. Mainly because it smells like that because people are dying.
Oh God.
That's exactly what watching out for first.
People are dying.
No, I mean it is weird. It's damn near 2020 and shit like this still happens. You get to a point where you're baffled.
It kind of makes me wonder when I read it. First of all, after being shocked, I thought, would it have been better to just not integrate?
People have said that.
That's what it makes.
I know who definitely feels that way. Dr. Umar.
Oh, well, him too.
Well,
I thought you were talking about Joe.
I would say I wouldn't be baffled. This is not anything. I mean, is any of us surprised that that would be the case?
I think I'm just really disappointed.
I'm disappointed, but to say you're baffled, like Philly, New York, upstate, as they used to call it, up north, is not necessarily less racist.
No, it's not.
Than Mississippi is.
No.
Philly has a history second to none. How many times has LA burned down? How many times has Detroit burned down? How many riots has Newark had? How many, like these places appear to be less racist, but they historically have not been. Philly blew up a whole damn block. You know what I'm saying? They could have a black mayor, if they did at the time, but they blew up a whole block. So if you look up the Move 9, so I would say you can't be surprised about things like that. I mean, it's what occurs, and you look at, say, the Flint water crisis. A lot of things happen. We might not think of it as racist, but it's happening right now. It's happening today. But I say all that, and I say this also, that we still are in charge of our own destinies. But this is a story of someone who did their best and did not get the reward that she should have gotten, which is like, you don't want to focus on it, but you cannot help but say it still exists.
No,
but it shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I can only imagine if I was a parent of that child and my child did all their work and I probably stayed up and helped them. Well, probably not because I don't know none of that shit, but I don't know none of that shit.
I did wake up and say, hey, did you do your homework?
Yeah, that's all I'm like. You did your homework? Yeah. All right. But I mean,
whooping some ass.
What the hell's Common Core? I'm walking away.
That's bullshit.
I'm more surprised that the school just outright admitted it like that.
That was
denying it.
That was surprising. Yeah. That was very surprising to me. And my bad, of course, I grew up in South Carolina, in the country, for lack of a better term, gang. So before living in the Low Country, Beaufort, where I spent the majority of my life, I actually lived in a small town, Colleton County, Walterboro, South Carolina. And I remember specifically, I was in first grade, and and then you just get E's and needs improvement or as whatever. So I was real proud of myself. I got all these. That's what your girl did. But the last report card for the semester, it wasn't all E's, and so I was always really hard on myself. So I was crying to my mom. I don't know what I did differently, blah, blah, blah. So my mom was like, well, let's just go talk to the teacher. Talked to the teacher, and she flat out said, oh, well, a black kid can't do better than a white kid in our class, so I had to change some of her grades. Like, flat out said it.
And that's when you insert ass for
flat out said it. And so then we had to go have a meeting with my mother and my two aunties who were teachers in the school district, and the principal and the teacher, who then stated it in front of the principal as well. Like, so she didn't feel that there was anything incorrect about what she had said. Okay. And I was like, okay. But she did ended up, changing the grades. And it was a principal. I mean, it was first grade. It's not like, it goes towards getting into college or anything, but it was the principal behind it. And we did get it changed, but she wasn't suspended. She wasn't fired. She wasn't, nothing happened to her. She was still there.
Now let's look at the subtle message that is sending black youth. Like, you're doing your best, you deserve what you get, but at the same time you're being held back for reasons that are not your own, just simply how you look or your color of your skin. Yeah. I mean, and it makes you feel like, you'll never get a fair shake, and then maybe people will look to, I don't want to go to the extreme and say they'll look to alternative means to get by, but if they feel like it happens because they feel like no matter what I do, when I try to walk the straight and narrow,
best crack seller.
Right, exactly.
At least it's a fair shake there. You know what I'm saying? As long as you got that good shit, it don't matter.
The message you're sending is to black youth is that no matter how good they are, even if they deserve it, and you're still looking at the color of the skin instead of the quality of the work they put in. Yeah. It's like they'll feel like in their mind that they'll never be able to get ahead or get a fair shake in life, or and I just thought I'm not gonna say, like you said, I'm not really surprised or baffled. I'm just like, when is this dumb shit gonna end? I mean, I don't know if it'll ever end. It's just like, why are we still? It's just, I'm just over it. Basically, what I'm saying, I'm just over it. Shit like that.
Yeah, you just gotta let all the old races die.
Right, something.
Like the next 3 years, it'll be good. I'm sorry.
I got I would say that like when I hear whites fight, right? There is a conversation that we had about, okay, what if? Oh, you know? Yeah.
Did you want to come over here, Jay? Sure.
Shit, let me take brunch here.
Yeah, Jai's leaving.
Kid just touched my butt, y'all.
What's that? I like your back. I didn't know. My bad.
It's the same thing.
Okay. What?
So,
what's going on here?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but so when I hear whites fight, I also hear that just historically, and kind of as you see going on now with the school shootings, right? Why are school shootings happening? Why are these?
I was just thinking that.
Like basically, when you have people that feel disenfranchised or out of the loop or whatever, they react in certain ways of violence, suicide, things like that. The ways that we've been acting for decades, right? So when you say a white fight, it's like you want to keep people above water so that they don't react in ways that are detrimental to themselves and the overall society, right? And that's what they're trying to do in a small way in that school district, is keep everybody feeling, because whether people want to admit it or not, people compare where they're at based on black people. Like there's too many black people in your neighborhood, many people will not want to be there. No matter how nice.
And some white people.
Yep.
But they move based on race, because a lot of people just look black. They do. They don't do that. They base their neighborhoods on, well, what's the percentage? Even credit. If you live in a zip code where more black people live than white people, that they actually credit your zip code for a reason, because that's part of the decision process. So even in your credit history, even in trying to attain credit for large loans, it matters where you live, and it matters your racial construct according to your census where you live at. So this is not like something that people don't register with or that's not known, but it's kind of what has been happening throughout this country, giving land allotments in the Midwest to certain families and not to others, redlining certain people and not others, to keep the what they call the myth of the American dream alive in the minds of people is important, right? So it's kind of what happened here. It's just another example of it. That will that ever end? Because at the end of the day, I always look at other countries where they tend to have social programs set up to keep everybody, like, you know, free healthcare, free college, because most of them are the same race. But in this country, you don't have that because you have one group of people that make sure that the general identity is positive, and other groups who are called minorities, right, which have nothing to do with numbers, but a minority by law means somebody that needs another person to tell them what to do, and needs somebody like a parent. That's what a minority means legally. Like, you need us to construct you in your everyday life like a child. That's what minority means. So when you use the word minority, you call it, because there's no word called majorities, right? Because if there's no word called majorities, there should be no word called minorities. So when you use that word, you're saying to everybody that knows that I am a child that needs to be shown the way or the path.
Show me the way.
Show me the way. Exactly.
The strength of the Black Panther will be stripped, Amy.
So I was wondering, Jake, when you hear stuff like this, how do you, besides just, you know, you think the South is weird, what do you feel about it?
It's, like I said, I understand that, you know, things are bad, but like you said, you had a segregated school. The only way to stop this kind of stuff is happening is to actually start merging these schools together, because of the fact that when I was growing up north, my brother in school, you know, was this 6-foot black guy that we became best friends, and next thing I know, he's at the house, he's having dinner with us, or I'm at his house, and like I said, our families came together. But there's a lot of organizations or hot topics, and it's diving into people's lives and trying to hit that hot button to keep on separating people these days. Like, stuff wasn't this bad. Let me put it this way. The hot topics weren't making everybody at each other's throats a few years ago. It's just recently, everything keeps on picking at getting people from one side to another and being at each other's throats. I just can't stand it. Like, I don't understand it. I think things do need to change. For stuff to start changing, though, people need to start looking at the other side. And like I said, I have no idea how to do it, but that's why I'm not a politician.
Yeah, I mean, I believe. I had a conversation with somebody like my mom's husband. You know, he was just telling me basically like the powers that be need us to be divisive. They need us to be at odds with each other because that's how they empower themselves. That's how they can justify the things they do. Is because, you know, you got conservative, you got liberal, you got Democrat, Republican, alt-right, all these different groups, black, white, whatever.
And mob mentality
is
real.
And anybody who ever talked about unity end up getting killed.
Straight dead. Assassination.
Like Patrice O'Neal, he was talking about Malcolm X. He was like, when Malcolm X was like talking about white people, you blue-eyed white devil, this, that, and the third, he was good. Nothing happened to him. He went to Mecca, came back.
Like, we can all drink from the same cup.
Get your hand out my pocket, and he got smoked.
Yeah. Same thing with Huey P. Newton. Like, while he was just leading the Black Panthers, everything was all cool. But when he started reaching out to other people who were disenfranchised economically, then it was like, oh, we got to take this dude out. Like, it's too much. You're doing too much.
MLK, the same thing.
So, yeah,
the Poor People's Campaign.
Oh, yeah, that's what got him.
The Vietnam War and the Poor People's Campaign got him. But he was just, you know,
fighting for civil rights.
Sitting at counters. It was all good. Cool. So yes, I talk what I know, but
Yes.
you know, if anybody sees me and knows my life, I've been the only black person in the room a lot. So when I speak about how people think, I'm thinking I've seen it in my own eyes. I felt it, and I can say that some places, a lot of times, everybody can be funny to me. I don't have a problem with it. It just comes out when you have certain people like Trump and that egg this on and bring it out of people, where you can have all these real problems like taxes affecting people, poison water, bad food, whatever. But if you just hit them with immigrants and hit them with all this other shit, they go with it. But it's a trap. Like
it's literally like a roadmap to dictatorship.
Like Josh said, it's a trap. But I implore people to say, you know what? I truly look at people because you can have a devil anywhere. You can have a devil look any color, any gender. If you look at somebody's soul, I can say that I've experienced, and my experience is there's no look or color to people who are detrimental to your life or those that can help your life. My father was a politician in New York. His constituency was all over the map. Jacob Javits was a friend of his, Jewish. He did not only deal with black people or just say, even Shirley Chisholm. Some people didn't deal with Shirley Chisholm. She was a woman. Very, very, very chauvinistic back then. My father was working with her. So I believe everybody should get together, but you cannot deny that there's a mental illness that is racism that exists. It should not hold you back because at the end of the day, for me, most of the time somebody fucks up, they really generally fuck themselves over. Mm-hmm. It generally isn't like somebody, a boogeyman, coming in. Usually, you really just fucked up yourself. But you cannot deny that institutionally these things really exist.
Yeah. But let's get to the root of racism. Is racism, do we believe that racism is something that's been taught and you grow up believing that this is the way things are? Or is it through your experiences of dealing with different races that may be bad and you generalize everybody in that race as being like...
I think it could be a combination. Right. Side note, shout out to everybody that's on live and commenting and chatting. We'll do better next time with replying to you guys. Sorry, love you. Hey, Haley. But I do think it's a mixture of things because I've seen where I started out at Mercer University in Georgia, it's a PWI, so it's a predominantly white institution, and they integrated in the 1960s. My freshman class, just to give you an understanding, there was about 600 of us. I want to say altogether there may have been about 100 black people, and that was the most that had ever come into a freshman class at Mercer. So that was the tone. And what I found was, because we have to take like a freshman seminar course where you meet a lot of different people, and what I found were some people, they just grew up in an area where it was really small, really rural. They went to school with the same people from pre-K all the way up to high school or what have you, and all they've ever known was what they've been told and what they've seen on TV. So that's what they're basing their judgment off of. And it made for some very difficult conversations in the classroom, but I thought that our professor did a really good job of creating a healthy environment to have those conversations. And it seemed to me to be easier to sway how they viewed black people in general, because mostly it was like white and black people, how they view black people in general by them just having interactions with people in actuality versus what they saw, what they heard.
To piggyback on what she said, it's a very good point. When you spoke about that, I thought about Glenn Beck and his series on the Black Founding Fathers. Now, if you remember, Glenn Beck was the big time dude on Fox.
Yeah.
When he did that series, this dude was out of television immediately. You can look up the series on YouTube right now. Black Founding Fathers, Glenn Beck. He did a series like for the whole damn month. All the people you saw on these famous paintings with Washington and Hamilton. And he had experts. He's like, did anybody know this? Like, these people were this, and they were doing this.
I think I vaguely remember something like that.
You can look it up. So my point in saying that is, what are people taught about black people? Because there are pyramids all over this continent that are 26,000 years old, 20,000 years old, that you probably never heard of. Right? No, probably nobody you know has heard of. But it exists. And that is part of the problem. And if you think that we just came here and people don't know that we were already here for thousands of years, and you think, and most people think that we were brought here as slaves, it not only affects the minds of black people, it affects the minds of white people. Like, what are you guys complaining about? Y'all could have been in Africa dying of Ebola. And that's how people think, no matter what you want to say, without knowing the history of who we are.
Because when you complain about some things, a lot of white people are like, well, y'all can always go back to Africa. But they don't ever say, well, y'all was already here, so we can't, they don't ever acknowledge that we was already here.
Y'all was building these monolithic monuments for thousands of years. They don't say, it doesn't register because they don't know. Right. But if you knew, part of the problem is educationally, nobody knows. And the easiest way I could look at it is when you look at the Black Founding Fathers and somebody like Glenn Beck, who used to be before that series known as somebody you would think of in the lines of Rush Limbaugh,
Sean
Hannity, did that series. That's why I mean, you look at the spirit of some people. Even Trump says some shit that's some real shit. Mm-hmm. And you look at some things he says, some of that shit is like authentically almost revolutionary to me.
I mean, the man was on this planet for like 100 years or something like that.
No, but even before he was president, he grew up in New York.
Right.
Trump was always around black people. But on top of that, if you look at some of what he says offline, some of it does ring true. Not the racial baiting shit. Right. But even people like that, my point is Glenn Beck was somebody like in line with all the people you see on Fox now. So when he did the series and he was ousted off of television, that is one of the things that would help. If you want to talk about helping racism. If people realize who we were for real and how long we've been here on this continent, then that would skew some of the y'all should be grateful y'all even came here because we made y'all. Basically, is what the argument is. Well, when you complain.
If we could bottle up whatever it was that triggered Glenn Beck to seek that knowledge or accept that truth and spread that thirst for knowledge of true knowledge about the true history of our country, and spread it to everybody, white people, black, whatever, then that would probably solve a lot of problems, maybe, because then people will look at races differently than they do now if they knew the true history of things. It had to been something in Glenn Beck to spark him to seek that knowledge, or somebody brought something to his attention for him to make a documentary about that when he was never in line with anything like that before.
It wasn't even a documentary though.
Well, not even just saying
it was on television.
Well, I'm saying documentary, whatever.
It was on Fox.
No, that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is it had to been something. Somebody brought some knowledge to him or some information to him that he was willing to accept and broadcast on television. Yeah. So that his willingness to accept that truth or thirst for knowledge or however he came across that, if we could bottle that feeling up and put it in other people where they don't just accept what's been told to them and research and learn the truth about things outside of the box of what they know right now, I think the world would be a better place.
Yeah, I mean, that's true and that's extremely true. But the thing is, like, the issue with a lot of people in America, people in general, not even race or whatever, is that a lot of them blindly follow whatever they see on TV and this and that. And that's the problem we have with society. Is like, you got Republicans, you got Democrats. Regardless, a Republican could be saying something very, that makes a lot of sense, right?
I ain't too mad at their tax policy.
Yeah, but then you got the Democrats is like, man, they ain't good. Nah, I don't agree with that just because they're on the opposite side.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that have a sheltered life too. Like I said, my sister-in-law came from a small town up in Oregon where she wasn't open to the whole world. There's nothing up. Nobody wants to go up there except for dirty Canadians. So like,
damn, bro.
So she. Sorry, did I go too far?
No, trust me.
It was redundant.
Oh damn.
So my sister-in-law, I mean, she goes out and she starts, all this new stuff starts coming to her like to a new world. Like, so even with my wife, she asked a whole lot of weird questions that you would ask a Russian. Like, do you guys really like the sickle and the as the commies would, or what's on the commies flag and stuff like that? Like, okay, you really need to calm down a little bit, and we'll tell you what.
Ill-informed.
Yeah,
I mean, there's still people that believe China's still part of America. So
I have a couple points. One, hey Bria, because Bria got jealous. She also said she missed y'all.
She can always come on.
So Haley said, we gotta do better with this. Haley said, but even if you've been taught racism at a certain point, considering if you're educated, what's the excuse then? And I think Joe had a good response to that, which was, what are they being educated on? Because a lot of the things that, and Haley and I come from the same background. So we from the same city. We've been best friends since we was like 11. What are they being educated on? Because a lot of the stuff that I've learned outside of school is what makes me so well-rounded. Not what I've learned in college or what I've learned in whatever school. So it's about those experiences. If you you could have gone all the way through to get a PhD, and if you haven't had those experiences to teach you something differently, then I don't think your point of view is going to change.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, there was a time period where that would be 100% true. But we have the internet.
We do.
Yeah.
But how many times have you heard your grandmother or your mother, your father say something, and you know that scientifically that's some bullshit, but because you've heard it all your life, you be like, I ain't gonna test it.
So it's like what it truly comes down to is your person, yourself. Are you willing to take that information, accept it as 100% fact? Or are you gonna, basically, you know what? Let me question this.
That's
the individual choice.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. That's like coming down to almost like politics or anything else. If you want to know what's really true, you got to do your research and not take the words of your grandparents or whoever else you're talking to.
Yeah. I mean, it is, but it's like the power of a YouTube video versus the power of a movie. You couldn't equate the two things. Yeah. It's like you can't equate the power of when you're systematically being indoctrinated into a society, which is called schooling, from kindergarten on up. You can't compare that to Googling that shit. It is a fine-tuned machine, and a lot of us have to fight from feeling less than. Mm-hmm. I don't care how great your parents were.
That's true.
You're gonna feel less than in certain circles, because I'm
fighting that right now in the business world.
Yes, because you feel less than, and again, my parents put me in situations where I literally was sometimes the only black kid in the environment, and you have to kind of really fortify yourself against feeling a certain way, and that's why I'm comfortable in every environment. But at first, it was like, where am I from? Like, when I'm taught. But I had to read a lot from third grade. I had to read a lot of books and fortify me to be able to discuss things. But I have no animosity towards anything. But if you want to be fair about everything, you have to be able to say, okay, when will you start in every school? Because I taught school in New York, and you go around the country, and the curriculum is going to be pretty much the same and structured. And it's that way for a reason. The books are vetted, and they put them out nationally, not state to state. So there's a reason why they put it out like that and tell people the same mythology over and over again to indoctrinate them to a certain reality. So I'm just talking about, if you really want to try to fight it, whoever's listening, one of the main ways is, if people don't know who black people are in the context of not only building this country and not just building it as slaves, but building it in how we deal with our laws, building it in fighting, building in treaties, building in every war that this country ever had, it would change how people look at Kaepernick, because if somebody fought for it, they had the right to say, you know what, we don't have to stand for a flag that we fought for and protest for something for a moment, right? So it's like, try that. But there's also other reasons, but I'll get into that later. But that's a main reason why, because it affects black people negatively, and it gives many white children not only look down upon the ex-slaves, which that's all we are, right? The former slaves of America, and they feel like they're the only ones who built it. Because if I ask you today, name one black founding father? Name one. Mm-hmm. When I tell you there were hundreds, you would look at me crazy. But just ask around, like, if you want to doubt it, ask anybody you know. Name one black founding father. Name a man who built Washington, D.C. Just name him. It exists. It's known, right? And they will not know. And it has a deleterious effect on how they see us, how we see ourselves. And if that was changed, it would really have a very positive impact on everything. Because I don't think most black people want to, like, they're not looking to be negative. Right, because most of them too busy feeling less than.
Yeah. Well, that's what I want to say. Like, I mean, you know, as a black child, one of the first things I was taught about black people, we came from slavery. Like, it was never, hey, you guys were kings and queens in Africa, and you had built civilizations before then. You know, that's something I had to learn later on in life. But you know, I can remember early in history class. You know, one of the first things that we were taught was we were slaves, and we came out of it. We learned about Abraham Lincoln and the Emancipation Proclamation and Civil War and all those type of things, but it was never really brought to our attention our history prior to that. You know, as far as, you know, us and our civilization. And well, I'm trying to think of that city. Was it Timbuktu or whatever? That was in Africa. That was a city that was like known for science and inventing things.
In Egypt?
Yeah, in Egypt.
Or
Samaria? What was it?
Well, that's another problem. There are many from the Zimbabwe. Timbuktu still exists, but Timbuktu, you know, 1,000 years ago was one of the most, you know, prolific things. Like the writers of their manuscripts got paid. Right. What would be? Well,
I'm just using that as one example. I'm not saying all the other stuff. I'm just saying like things like that I had to research later on down the line.
Benin, Kemet, Nubia.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like all them places is places that I'm just saying like I'm just using that as an example that those are things that I had to learn later on in life. I'm not just narrowing it down to Timbuktu. I'm just saying like the fact that I learned about things like that later on in life and it's not readily available in modern history books in school is just.
And then even worse than that is that you have the Olmec civilization that was here, the Fosun people that was here. You have greater pyramids on this continent. Okay, mostly in Central America that still stand that were not destroyed. El Dorado in Guatemala, the Temple of the Sun in Mexico, which people don't know about, but they really do exist in real life. So. These were built by the same people, the same structures, the same type of stone. What technology are you using to create these great statues with the hardest rock stones on the planet? Right. You're not using a chisel for that. So tell me what you're using.
That's why they want it for the world. Cause it's,
I have one answer for this: fucking aliens. That's my answer.
Sounds good.
Sounds
good. Sounds good. But you know, those faces were not alien faces. Those faces look like us. So the thing is, history could be taught without the mythology and be taught realistically after how it really occurred. And you know what I'm saying? Like there is a real story behind how it really happened. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with pilgrims come. Right. Then settlers come and kill all the Indians and then create this great, magnificent country all by themselves while the slaves are whispering by and then happy, God loves America. Totally bogus. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it'd be helpful that, first of all, we expanded our time frames. You're talking about tens of thousands of years already here. Mm-hmm. Not no 6,000 years man was brought to the planet Earth. No. Just here in this continent, doing what we do, tens of thousands of years, and then all over the world, right? I can show you pictures on my phone from a museum that you're never gonna see, right? Like right now, that is present in museums right now that show ships with Kemetic people, Kush people and Kush sailing, women in the forefront, by the way. Women were in the, like the whole dynamic when you look, when I read about Timbuktu, the scholars were given what's equivalent to what the athletes are given today in gold.
Right.
They were paid more.
Was that back during, what's the name,
Mansa Musa and all that? They were paid, the scholars were the ones being paid. So I looked at that and I was like, wow, that whole thing changed. Like, people who are scholars now don't get paid. People who are athletes get paid now. So people were valuing and attempting to become that. But if you switch it up and then you make women you downgrade women, and then in all the structures in those countries, women were given a high status. But then when you build up the woman, we know we build up the man. But when you put down the woman, you put down the man. You can't put down a woman and think you're gonna stand above her. You're gonna be always
man's word, but it wouldn't mean that without a woman.
Exactly. So it's like we've been taught differently, and we have followed suit psychologically because of the what we've been taught without really realizing it, right? So we have to sort of understand where we're at.
I want to speak about something about this being taught, but you have something to say?
I was gonna say for how far we came in America, things have definitely gotten better, but they're not at their best yet. Like everywhere up in New York, Philadelphia, each neighborhood was sectioned off. You had your Italians in one neighborhood, your Irish in another. Thank God that changed, but yet, we still have.
I think when it comes to race relations in general, what I realized for me personally, one, it's very easy to think of the person or of the group that's not necessarily disenfranchised as just the devil or the evil, or you know what I'm saying, like the enemy, for lack of a better term, because you feel like, well, if one did it, everyone did it, they're all disenfranchising all my people.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. For me, what helps is to understand that this is a human condition, right? So, and when I say that, I try to imagine myself in those shoes. Like, if I were not the disenfranchised group, if I were on the other side, how would I feel if we've created this storyline, if we've been at the top of the social ladder all this time, and now all of a sudden people want equality, or they want that, I'm gonna feel some type of way, you know what I'm saying? Or, oh, well, you're giving people, they're only helping their own. I mean, we do the same damn thing. It's a human condition.
Like every time I tell somebody I'm Irish, they're like, okay, alcohol to the back of the line.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
when you're being oppressed, there's always going to be...
Yeah, you have a tendency to make yourself or angelic, for lack of a better term. But we got shitty people too. Like, it's shitty people in every race.
Like, there's people that would sit there and be like, I hate white people. That's not racist, right? That's completely racist, you know what I'm saying? But they don't think that is racist. Like, I've seen black people like, oh man, I hate white people, you know, this and that. Just say it blatantly, but nobody thinks about it, nobody listens to that. I think that's racist.
I would say that's hate speech, but racism means that...
Yeah, I know more.
Racism...
Talk about that later.
Yeah, racism...
We'll talk about that.
I mean, it's hand in
That's
hand.
going to be a discussion.
I mean, I just go off the definition.
It's really simple.
Yeah, that just goes the definition.
Basically, just simple definition. It's like it's akin to me saying, okay, I'll talk about a woman bad, right? What am I?
Chauvinist.
You're a chauvinist, right?
Misogynistic.
Yeah. Well, misogynistic is also more about the action, right?
Yeah.
Talking bad about a woman is not misogyny, right? Same way that talking bad about somebody's race is not in and of itself racist. Racism goes into how you can affect their lives, right? So maybe that's hate speech, and you know, I don't propose anybody say that, because that would be simplistic and ignorant, because you can't, like he just said, in every color of every race, there's bad. For every bad person in one race, I could put somebody else across the board. So it's like I'm just talking about, you can't deny how this country was constructed, and what we are taught, and how you feel in your earliest memories as a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old around other people from other races, and how you how you internalize those feelings. There's a reason why you felt a certain way. That's all. Whatever race you are, you had an innate feeling when you first saw people. You were around people, a lot of people of a different race. What you felt they were about, and how you felt you compared to them. Right? You can't deny that.
I just want to piggyback on something and go to something else because we were talking about it all night.
Yeah. Yes.
So, speaking of being taught wrong, I don't know if y'all noticed, but Uno has a Twitter account.
I'm so done.
Uno has a Twitter account.
You mean the card game?
The card game.
Hey, don't
and
put
this
some
is what
respect
they
on
say.
the name, dog.
This is what they say for all you
Don't
people.
be talking about Uno like
They
that.
said
Uno
this is
master.
coming from Uno, the people of Uno. If someone puts down a draw 4 card, you must draw 4, and your turn is skipped. You can't put down a +2 to make the next person draw 6.
Or plus
We know
one.
you tried it.
Uno
And
gods have spoken.
stacking is illegal. There should be no stacking.
Uno gods have spoken.
What?
Yes.
Yo, Joe,
You're not supposed to stack.
Somebody
You've been
tweeted
cheating
back
this
to
whole
them.
time?
Somebody tweeted back
I
to
never
them.
did the
They were
draw
like,
4 thing though.
they were like, so what if I got to draw
You've been
4?
cheating this whole time.
Yeah,
You've been
they said
cheating.
you can't do that either, and so the person was like, "You obviously don't know how to play Uno."
To the Uno people.
Joe's like, I gotta go home and apologize to my kids.
That's too
Hey,
bad.
that's a prime example. Though. That's a prime example, though. You made that. Uno just said they're not supposed to do it, and
Uno
how
said-
many of us gonna be
right.
like, "Fuck that! I've been doing
Right.
that all my life. I'm gonna do it." Like,
Exactly. And I
You should have
think
made the game then.
fuck it.
and I believe they said I gotta go back and look. I believe they said if you pluck, I think you only pluck 1 card and you skip. You don't pluck till you find their color.
Oh damn!
I think. Let me double check on that.
Who knows
So when you go to people's house, you need to ask them, do y'all stack or do y'all pluck till you find the color, or you just pluck 1 and go?
Nah, I'm about to play.
Are you a
I'm
dirty
about
fucker?
I'm gonna be like, hey, y'all play Uno.
Mother
30
You
cards.
pluck that, you pluck, dirty plucker.
So you ain't gotta plug to the end?
You
I
don't.
look.
Oh
That
shit.
shit
I
dead
play
it
this
all.
shit.
That's
I get it on
groundbreaking.
the app, and the app don't let you do it. So
How's it play on the app? You pluck 1 and then you go?
you get 1 card at a time. That's it.
Well, I mean,
Look,
before the
if that's
ad,
not your
you know.
card. Look, you need
Before
that
that.
color of that
You
number.
know,
Okay, you
you
just
know.
gonna hold on to that card, and that's it.
I wish I
Cheat
had known all
turns
of
go
this.
around
Cheat
until
moves.
something
He was
comes up.
gambling in college for honey buns and shit.
So,
But reverse card, you can still bundle off.
right.
Yeah.
Still too bad.
Man, we was in our college dorm. We played scoop Uno, so you could go out of turn if you went if you got it in before that next person, you'd be like scoop.
Yeah.
It was
And
very
then somebody else
disrespectful.
told me something that blew my mind that I didn't know existed. One of my coworkers told me today that Uno actually has points, and it's about whoever has the lowest points at the end.
Get the hell out of here.
That's
Uno
what-
does that?
That's what somebody told me.
Oh, so is it kind of like phase 10, like where you count them up, and if you when you one person gets out, so they count up the cards that they have, and it has a point value, and whoever
Maybe.
has the lowest.
Oh,
I thought Uno was just about
Like
Uno and out. I never knew it was
like
points.
real domino type song?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. They have dose now.
or backgammon or something.
I don't know.
Backgammon.
Yeah.
I'm still learning how to play.
You know,
backgammon.
I'm mad that they took this long just to tell us this.
No,
They
because
could've
people
been-
been stacking and probably
It
having
probably-
YouTube
look,
videos and they
the
like,
game,
oh,
look, all games that you buy, they come with rules.
They do come with rules.
We just don't read them.
yeah, that's
Nobody read fucking
Nobody,
rules
you don't even know what them shits at after you
anymore.
open the
That's
pack.
why nobody
Okay,
knows.
I'm gonna tell you how I used to do. I used to get a board game. I'll get a board game fresh. Me and the homies play. You know what we do with the rule book? That's what I bring my weed on. Then I roll that
Oh
shit up. Fucking goddamn rules. Smoke up, bro. What's that shit called?
Lord. Bria said we out here ruining all childhood rules.
Hold up. It's not us. This is coming from Uno itself. It's not us.
I want to play Dose though. I think that shit gonna
What's
be
that?
dope. It's the new one that Uno came out with. They got Dose now.
Ooh, that sounds
Yeah, I
good.
think that shit gonna be dope. It's like in a purple pack. I don't know what the rules are, but I'm trying to play.
Purple?
Yeah,
Ooh.
Ooh.
I got that.
Got that purple. The purple up.
Anything else?
Good information right there.
Anything else left on the docket?
I'm a,
Was there something else you wanted? You said
I
yes.
just wanna talk about Uno.
You want to talk about Uno?
Shit.
Where?
I ain't got nothing.
Tasty Jakey? Anything?
I'm actually speechless for once.
Oh, by the way, Jake, your Sixers won tonight.
Thanks,
That's
man.
what they did.
Yeah, it's tied up.
It's tied up. It's still
3-3 going to game 7.
Oh shit.
Who this?
There's gonna be 7 people on that.
The
Right.
Raptors? Oh, okay.
You saw what happened.
Is Drake
to
gonna
Celtics.
show up to the last game, or he
I
gonna
don't know.
sit this one out?
He might not show up because he's bad luck.
He's still living off the Super Bowl, you know.
What's up with Durant? Did they say
Oh, he
anything about
hurt.
his
He out for
injury?
the series. Yeah.
He out for the series?
Yeah.
For that series, at least.
Oh, okay.
Had a
Right,
calf
right,
strain.
It was a calf strain.
Yeah, meaning he's just gonna chill until they
That's
either win
fortunate.
it, and then when they win it, he'll come back.
Yeah, to the next series.
That's fortunate. I'm glad.
When I saw the headline, they were like, "Oh, what are the Warriors gonna do without Durant?" And I was like,
Win like they
They
did.
still
without
won.
him.
Yeah.
I'm confused. Like
They won without him. They didn't-
not only do they have their first string dope, but their second string is pretty solid as well. Like,
Look, they bench is deep. So.
what's my name? Spates? Is that his name? Spites or Spates?
Who?
Bald head dude.
Oh, he
He's on
used
the
to play
second
with
string.
me.
Oh, he not with them
Space,
anymore.
yeah, no,
He,
Oh, okay.
He
I
was
like
nice
that.
little- he was nice
He would
little
show up
retired.
and show
That's
out.
good. Where he at now?
He retired.
I think he retired. He was
Oh,
old.
okay.
He had
Oh,
a
really?
cul-de-sac on his head. You know he was getting out of there.
Why LeBron ain't left? What are you talking about?
He don't know when to.
I feel
My
bad.
Celtics got knocked out. You know, sucks, but they lost to a better team. I mean, Milwaukee is just that good. So.
That's the Timberwolves, right?
No.
No? Okay.
Bucks.
The Bucks.
Milwaukee.
I like seeing all of these new names and like
Yeah,
in
I
the
do too.
playoffs. Like,
I wish I could see that in
think
the
that's
NFL, but I keep seeing the fucking Patriots.
Yeah. I mean, you know what we can do about that.
Thanks to Jake's team, we at least got him out the way one time.
Woo! The Patriots can't do shit against an NFC East team. Simple as that. You saw what the Giants did to them twice.
And
Those.
the Eagles now.
Yeah. Look, I'm not an Eagles fan, but fuck it. I didn't want the fucking Patriots to win. Like, nobody wants to see them win. But, nah, I mean, it's different in football, at least in basketball. At least now, you know, the conversation I was having with somebody, with LeBron James going to the West, it opened up the whole league because the competition in the West is always deeper. It's always going to be deeper. So his chances of getting to the playoffs dropped expeditious.
He got fucked over, though. I will say he got fucked over. Because, I mean, you look at his situation. Magic Johnson went to his crib as soon as free agency started. He couldn't do it before because of NBA rules. Recruited LeBron like, we're going to do this to the third. We're going to win championships. Shit didn't go right, and after 1 year, Magic quit. Ain't tell nobody. He did it on live TV. He ain't tell LeBron. He ain't tell the owner. He was like, y'all know what? I'm out this bitch. Fuck y'all. And LeBron even said, like, damn, he couldn't even call me and tell me.
Man, fuck you. Ain't nobody got to
Yeah,
do shit.
but I mean, okay, that was wrong. But I would also just play devil's advocate.
I know what you're gonna say. He didn't tell the Cleveland fans when he left and did his whole decision.
Yeah, that's the comeback you always say. He
He ain't
tell
say
nobody.
shit. Yeah.
So he can't really.
But at the same time, he was a free agent.
Yes.
Magic Johnson and LeBron were under contract, and Magic just quit while he was under contract.
Oh, he did. So
He
paid
just quit.
his way
Yeah,
out of
LeBron was a
contract.
free agent, so he didn't have to tell nobody shit.
Someone say Matthew Johnson is always a free agent, and he has businesses, so he's a permanent free agent.
Yeah, I
So
mean, okay.
to counter that argument, but I would say that when you look at the fact that Luke Walton probably can't coach, and definitely had a supposed rape allegation over his head
Yep.
before he made that announcement. By the way, that's not no new shit.
No.
So
They tried to make it like
he probably knew all of that.
Yeah, but what team doesn't have that right now?
What?
Like
Rape
rape
charges.
charges.
No,
or
right, that
Is the head coach he's
Valid
still
point.
coaching? Nobody, not one.
So Haley said poor Kyrie, and Lenny Grimm said Kyrie played like trash.
He did play like trash, and I like Kyrie, but Kyrie played like
Oh.
boo-boo
He can
juice.
get the fuck off my team.
Oh well,
Kyrie-
Haley said that he won't be there. He doesn't work for the system.
Fuck that. He doesn't work for that damn system. We did better when he sat his ass on the bench.
They actually did.
Like, bro, take your ass to New York and go fuck that team up. Like, you ain't about to fuck out. Real shit. We should have just. I don't know why they kept starting him. Like, put Rozier in. You start Rozier. You see that this nigga is not hitting any shots. Like, cause I tried to watch that game.
Mm-hmm.
After a while, I'm going to sleep. I got other things I gotta worry about in my life. I'm not even gonna try to watch this sorry ass game. Like,
So hold on. Let me get this right. Kyrie Irving all of a sudden is sorry.
He started
in the series.
Yeah, he started for that shit.
Yeah, okay, the series.
He's still a great player.
All of a sudden.
No.
During the year, he was great.
No. I don't think he was all that great during the year either.
Okay.
He had a lot of problems during the year. He was up and down, really.
Put it like this.
He did better last year than he did this year.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, when their coach put Gordon Hayward in, and Gordon Hayward wasn't ready, I think that did more to affect the team than what Kyrie Irving did.
Of course.
Yes, that was, to me, that's the real.
Well, the chemistry was off.
That's the real problem. You sat Tatum down. You took minutes away from
Jaylen
Brown, who was emerging.
Yeah. But you know why though?
Because it's Butler, the Butler connection.
No,
I was coach.
No, well that, but also the fact that they paying Gordon Hayward $30 million. You better play that motherfucker. I ain't paying him $30 million to sit on the bench. He gotta get some minutes, bro. If I'm the owner, you gotta.
I get it, but people kind of scapegoating Kyrie a little bit. But what I saw the other game was, which happens sometimes even in like pickup basketball. Oh, you ain't hitting no shots, and you want to take all the shots. When you drive, I'm not gonna cut to the basket.
Yeah.
And he was driving, and nobody was moving at all. So it was like it made him look even worse because that last game he was like driving and.
They were collapsing the paint and wouldn't let him get in.
And nobody was moving at all, so it made it really easy.
Here's an indictment of how that was. The first game they played, Kyrie had 11 assists in game 1.
Yes.
Total in the last 4 games, he probably had 11 assists in 4 games.
Yes.
So, that lets you know, like, he was moving the ball and then...
Haley said LeBron's going to LA, but Lenny Grimm... I don't know.
That's my friend.
Okay. Well, Lenny said Kyrie was like 7 and 22, talking about I should have took more shots.
Yep. Who that sound like? Carmelo. Carmelo Irving.
You go to the Knicks.
Now, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
basketball, dog.
Nothing against Kyrie. I think he's a great talent, but dog, you were trashing that series.
Bro,
it's
then he said him and Hayward came back and were worse after the injury.
Yeah.
Damn.
They making sophomores and rookies worse by taking their time.
Damn. They was trashing this series.
Winning too stupid.
I'm just saying, bro. Like that shit just,
I'm in tears.
Congratulations to the Bucks. It'd be nice to see them.
In the competitions that I watch, y'all watch Jeopardy?
No.
Well, I'm gonna tell you about it. James Hauser, he's been on there now for I want to say 17 or 18 days.
God damn.
Bro, he's at like $1.6 million in winnings, and he broke the record for the most amount of money won in one show. He won $110,000, dog, in one show.
Oh yeah, I think I
One
saw
Jeopardy show.
in one Jeopardy show.
I remember that one black
But
guy.
he's also he's done like some championship
What's that one
games,
white dude
but
that was on there for a long?
Ken Jennings.
He was
But he hasn't.
beast.
So he beat Ken Jennings. Ken Jennings was the one that won $77,000 in one day, but he just beat that or whatever. But he still, I think the highest someone has won in altogether is like $4 million and some change. Anywho, he is a professional gambler out of Las Vegas.
And he's sitting here playing Jeopardy.
And so the way he bets is insane. Like most people, they'll bet conservatively, but he could be in the lead and have like 25 grand, and literally everybody else has about 5 or 6 grand. So there's no reason to bet everything, and he'd be like, bet it all.
Really?
Yeah, but he he hardly ever gets a question wrong. I think he has like an identity memory or some shit like that.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
He must like
Jeopardy
he must be able to like predict cards and see how many cards he has.
So now sports industries are looking at him for like
That's scary.
what's when they doing predictive analytics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sports industries are actually like looking to give him a job.
Yeah, I worked in a casino, so their computer systems and everything will watch for if you have a bead of sweat on you, they're like something's up. Like he's focusing way too much on this on this card.
What was that movie that was about them counting cars and shit? Was it 21, I think?
Yeah.
Where they was counting
Rayman,
cars and they...
And
Rayman, that's my show. I mean, that's my movie.
So are they saying he's like a polished Rayman? Does he have that kind of mind?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a matter of, kind of. He just he remembers what he sees basically, and so he's done a lot of fact memorization, which is all Jeopardy is. Yeah. Trivia show. He killing the game. He killing them.
That's crazy.
So
like murdering them people.
Is he?
Yeah, but he has pancreatic cancer stage 4.
Oh damn.
Who?
Alex Trebek.
Oh,
damn, this gonna suck, man.
Him and Bushwick Bill from Ghetto Boys. Yeah.
Oh, he has pancreatic cancer. Bushwick Bill.
Damn dog.
Stage 4.
Really?
I just heard about that last week.
Saw that, man.
Yeah, man. That's sad.
Well,
But yeah, my man out here killing the game. Just thought I'd throw some of my favorite competition in there.
Are they going? He's probably never going to leave.
I mean, the
Probably
season will be
permanent
over
position.
eventually, so he has to leave at some point.
But
But I'm sure that they'll probably change the rules a little bit after he leaves.
Wow.
They'll probably limit the
You
amount of
gotta know-
games that you
listen,
can play
Jeopardy is hard. You gotta know a lot
consecutively.
of
You do
shit.
have to know a lot of shit.
I don't know.
And most people are pretty good at keeping it balanced, but he is
Jeopardy is wild.
murdering his competition. Like, I'm talking, he'll win with 80 grand, and they'll come out with maybe 8.
That's
killing them
crazy.
boys.
8,000. Okay.
Yeah. Killing
Congratulations to
them.
him. Hope he keeps winning, man. Shit, so,
Yep.
So,
Jeopardy gets me excited, guys.
other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I don't think we have anything else to talk about, man.
This is a good episode.
Yeah, I'm good.
Tasty
Always
Jakey, did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, I had a blast.
Awesome.
I gotta figure out what the name and shit.
Tasty Jakey.
Oh no.
Oh
Jacob's Ladder.
no. Jacob splattered.
Frat house.
Oh man.
Frat house.
Deep Goosey.
You can't call it safety.
I still I still want to apologize.
So yeah,
Crotch munchers. That was a good one.
Crotch goblins.
Crotch goblins. Oh, that's something different.
Crotch munchers.
Crotch goblins is something you find on the
Okay. It's on back page.
Turn it down a crotch.
so this was your boy Sean.
Any harder one?
Just Kim.
This is Joe. I have something to say.
Oh shit.
Next week.
That was good.
That was good. Okay, so
Let's go with Tasty Jake.
bye, Haley.
Unreal fiction.
And this was the Unfamous Podcast, guys. Thanks for listening. All right. Peace.
Bye.
Yeah, man.
I laughed a lot.